The following program is brought to you by Jack Miller.
It's Down to Business with Jack Miller. Forget what they teach you in school. This is real life, not Wall Street, but Main Street. A real show on what's really involved with starting and running a business with all the ups and downs. Our guests will answer your questions and provide you with valuable information. Stay tuned and join in the conversation.
When the earth was created, the word came down. Take this world and turn.
Hello, everyone. This is Jack Miller and Todd Cohen on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Todd, great to see you again. How are you, my friend?
Oh, man, so good. The Festival of Lights has descended upon us. We had Adam Sandler, regaled us with a fourth section of the Hanukkah song. I've been laughing about that.
I was thinking about playing that we have a Hanukkah show today. We're going to have on two fantastic rabbis. I was actually thinking about playing the new Adam Sandler song, but I didn't tell you. I actually got in a little trouble with YouTube because we had a few motivational minutes. We had Zig Ziglar. We had Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Bregman, who we're so lucky to have as our guest today. And YouTube sent me a nasty thing that I didn't have copyright permissions. Basically, so I was scared to put on Adam Sandler today. I know.
Two question. Our theme song, where did that come from?
He's actually a very good friend of mine. His name is Gershon Veroba. He is a phenomenal Jewish singer, but I have his approval. He's, again, a great friend of mine. He'd actually be a good guest. Super great guy. And one of my favorite songs. I have a little shtick before I get to the station. As you know, every week I stop at the Wawa, not the Wawa, the candy bars. And what I do is, my office is in Fort Lauderdale, I blast Gershon Veroba's CD called Turn It Around. And I sing to it on the way down here. I'm like in the zone. I get myself in the zone.
You have a ritual, and now I know the secret behind your great figure, too.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. But so we have permission to do that. But we have a great show. I feel bad. We haven't spoken in so long. We usually, schmooze a little bit on air, but we've just been busy. A lot of stuff going on. Let me just tell you quickly, because I want to jump into our guests, some of the stuff we got on. First, I want to let everyone know that our good friend Roger Stone is going to be in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, signing books tonight at the Palm Beach Bookstore on 215 Royal Peninsula Way. Whatever you think of Roger, whether you love him or hate him, whether you think he's crazy or a genius or nuts, and he's probably a little bit of everything, he is fascinating, and I would encourage everyone to go.
He tells a good story.
This guy has tons of stories. We also have, I was telling you right before we went on air, a guy by the name of Jeff Shepard, who was on Richard Nixon's defense team and part of one of his White House counsels coming on the first week in January. He's the guy who first heard the Watergate tape, the smoking gun tape, and he came up with the name the smoking gun.
So he named that term, and then we also had, obviously, the deep throat term. There's a lot of good terminology that came out of that Richard Nixon skin.
Yeah, tons of great stuff.
Everything is a Watergate. You know
the gate.
The scandal.
The gate.
Fell, and in politics, everything's...
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So Jeff's coming on the show. Great book. I would encourage everyone to read it. We're going to have our old friend and our pal Jimmy LaSalvia came out with an endorsement to Hillary Clinton this week, made big news. And I spoke to him about it. He makes sense what he says. So I'm going to get him on in the next couple of weeks. Just tons and tons of stuff going on. And we have a super fantastic guest coming on our New Year's Eve Day show. Ingrid, you ready for the drum roll? This guy gets a drum roll. We got a drum roll. We got Jackie the Joke Man Martling coming on New Year's Eve Day. And I can tell you, I've spoken to him. I started speaking to him, I guess, Wednesday or Thursday of last week. The guy's a total wild man. Total.
He always was.
I know. But anyway, let's focus on today. First of all, we have some ground rules.
Wait, have we made it? Does that mean we've made it?
I don't know. Oh, you know who else I got? I forgot to tell you. A guy by the name of, I must confess, I never heard of him before, but his name is Michael Johns. He's one of the founders of the Tea Party movement, one of the 2 or 3 founders. Guy has his own Wikipedia page. He's going to be on the show, too.
Wow. I know. Our audience must be thinking, another conservative talking head to come on this show. Go ahead, tell them what you told me.
The truth is, and I want our audience to know this, I'm actually taking heat on social media because we have had a lot of conservative and right-wing people. And the truth is, I've reached out to the left side and the Democratic Party, and they basically ignore me and ignore us. So an open invitation to anyone on the left side. I've reached out to our public officials in Florida, people within the different campaigns, different parties.
Is that even open to Debbie Wasserman Schultz?
I'd love to have Debbie Wasserman Schultz on the show.
I don't know if I would, but
I would.
I'd like to give her a piece of my mind.
Look, you know what? There's, like anyone else, there's things I agree with her about, things I disagree with her about. But, I think she's trying to do the best job she can do. And you or I may not agree with everything she says, but, she's trying to help the people, I think. So, look, I disagree with her policy toward Israel. I don't think she's any friend of mine in that area, but I'd love to have her on the show anytime. Open invitation. If anyone's listening, anyone knows Debbie Wasserman Schultz, or anyone in the Democratic Party, or anyone from the liberal side of things, open invitation. I'll bump some right-wing people for you.
And by the way, Jack and I are both pretty much on the same ground here. We're very liberal in terms of our social policy and pretty conservative in terms of our fiscal policy. So, I don't want you guys to be dissuaded out there that, we're all conservative all the time. We just happen to get a slew of conservative guests who wanted to come on the show. Maybe it's because it's a business station. Maybe it's because of other things. But, we'd love to have liberals on here.
I love it. I love them all, baby. All, baby. I love it. I love it. Hey, we had Adam and Eve. They were probably liberal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, let's segue. Today I'm super excited to have both of our guests. I don't even know who to introduce first, and we've never had two guests before, but they're both great guys. I know them both pretty well. First, we have on Rabbi David Baum, who is the rabbi at Congregation Sherry Kodesh in Boca Raton since 2009. He's a graduate at the JTS, Jewish Theological Seminary, and received his master's. This guy has on so many committees. I'll just read them off. These guys have very impressive resumes. I feel like a real yodel compared to these guys. I do. No, but Baum, he's on the executive board of the Palm Beach Rabbis. He's the regional president of the Southeast Regional Rabbinical Association. He serves as an appointed Social Justice Commission. The guy, it just goes on and on. I don't know how these people have the time. He also was appointed one of the top 20 nationwide rabbis to participate in the Clergy Leadership Institute of Rabbis Without Borders. But more than that, I know him. He's a good guy. And you know what I like about him? He's a down-to-earth guy. He's a young guy. He has a nice family. I really respect him. And I'm really excited to have him on the show today. Then, again, I can't be more excited to have our old friend and our great friend, Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Bregman. Rabbi Bregman, as everyone knows, I have to tell you something first before I give the interview. I spoke to Bregman. You know what he told me? What we started calling him the Jewish Tony Robbins, he said it's stuck. Really? Could you believe that? We may have we coined a phrase. I didn't even realize I said that, but I guess patent pending. I want some. Hey, I should have hit him up for some money on it. Yeah, but he really is. This guy's unbelievable. Again, his resume goes from all over the place. He's an internationally acclaimed motivational speaker, peak performance, author, lawyer, relationship coach, radio personality. He founded the Jewish Executive Learning Network. Just Bregman's success. And he wrote a fantastic book, which I happen to read every Saturday morning. But I don't want to say every. 90% of the Saturday mornings called A Short and Sweet on the weekly Torah portion. It's a great book. I love it. I use it as reference material. He's on the show. So we are lucked out. And this also what I do with Bregman, and you should start doing this too, Todd. On my way in, he puts out like a daily YouTube. I feel like it's a daily. I don't know if it is. We'll ask him.
I get his daily app from.
I actually listen to it on the car on the way in. It kind of pumps me up. I feel it's like a shot of energy, a drug. But anyway, let's introduce them. I think we got an introduction for them. Let's see if we can get them on.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Todd.
I hear that's Rabbi Bregman. Rabbi Baum, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, gentlemen, how are you?
Great to be on the show. Thanks for having us.
Oh, I'm super excited. I'll tell you, Hanukkah is just a fantastic holiday. It puts joy into everyone's heart. And Todd and I and the world are glad you're with us. The truth is, I couldn't think of two nicer people and more down-to-earth people than the two of you. So I'm excited.
Thank you. By the way, Jack, I'm not that important. You gave me a great introduction, but thank you.
The truth is, I was Googling you last night, and I don't even know where I went. I saw like all these 10 committees you were on. And I wanted to say, he has a couple young kids. I wanted to say, and this is what I was thinking, how do you have time for all this stuff? And by the way, the same thing goes true to Bregman, because Rabbi Bregman, I speak to him 10 o'clock at night. He's just settling in, and he starts at 7 in the morning. It's a busy life being a rabbi.
Jack, I just want you to know everything you're saying. Actually, my mother and father are probably listening in Boca Raton, and they believe everything you're saying. So from their end, they're like, no, keep going. But anyway.
Well, there's nothing wrong with proud parents, and you guys make your parents proud, and you make a lot of people proud, and that's great. Look, we have guests on all the time, and all of our guests make Jack and I feel inferior. You guys are great people. You do a lot of great work, yeoman's work in society, and in your congregations and outside, and look, we appreciate it. We want to celebrate Hanukkah with you guys because you're going to show us the way.
And I got to give a little boost to my co-host, Todd Cohen. He's practically a rabbi. He married a rabbi's daughter.
There you go.
So it's like in the family, right?
I don't know if it works quite like that. You guys could answer better than...
What, are you kidding? In the Hasidic dynasty, you would have been the Rebbe.
I would still be in school, I think, learning the traditions and Talmud, right?
So let's jump into it. Guys and audience, I don't know how this is going to work. We've never had two guests before. I'm going to just randomly ask you guys questions, and I'll try to rotate. I'm not trying to be partial or impartial. First, Rabbi Baum, what is Hanukkah? What do you think the meaning of Hanukkah is?
It's a great question. In the Talmud, they ask this question, the same question, what is Hanukkah? I think it really, for every generation, wherever you live, it's a question we have to ask ourselves. We all know there's a very famous story about in the Holy Temple after the Jews won, the Maccabees won, they are trying to light the menorah, and they only find one jug of oil, and there's a miracle that happens. The one jug of oil lasts for 8 days. That's actually just a little part of the story that's in the Talmud. The greater miracle is the victory of the Maccabees, right, over the Greeks, over the Hellenists, and this war that happened. But in every generation, we Jews have looked at it differently. For example, one thing I taught to my teen education class was how did the early pioneers of Israel, the people who built the state, who were secular Jews, not religious, how did they look at Hanukkah? They looked at it from the lens of the Maccabees, not necessarily through God, but through the power of humanity, the power of the Jewish pride, Jewish power, fighting for the land, resettling the land. That was a big part of how they looked at it. In America, I think we look at it Jews look at it maybe through a lens of being part of a greater culture, religious freedom. I know that's a big issue going on right now. Enjoying religious freedom, appreciating it, I think that is one of the great meanings for us today here in America.
Rabbi Bregman, Hanukkah seems to be different from a lot of the Jewish holidays. It's kind of like, I guess, the Jewish, I hate to compare it, but like the Jewish Christmas. We only have like 2 minutes before we have to take a commercial break, but how do you think Hanukkah has transformed in America today as opposed to maybe how it was, in Eastern Europe?
Oh, that's a terrific question. The short and sweet answer
I like it.
tell you is that when you live in a very commercialized, wonderful society like we have, for example, in North America, the United States, the emphasis has been gone a little bit from in terms of spiritual giving and the holiday to a shift primarily focused more in terms of the material giving. Many people celebrate the holiday and they go through the motions and they do the commandments of lighting the menorah every night, which is beautiful and amazing. But I think a lot of people are less aware today than 100 years ago and beforehand as to some of the spiritual essence of the holiday, the themes of giving, spiritual growth, worrying about other people. And, hey, we have a show today, so maybe we can get into a little bit of that together.
We're going to. We have to take a break. When we get back, let's get into that, and let's focus on how much of it should be, what's the balance between the spiritual and the physical in our daily lives and in Hanukkah. So you guys can think about that for 2 or 3 minutes. Todd and I will talk about inappropriate things off air because we're trying to be respectful, and we'll see everyone in 3 minutes.
We will be right back.
Are you tired of dealing with unreliable banks and brokers who charge upfront fees and never deliver on their promises? You don't have to. Gelt Financial Corporation has been in business since 1989 and offers a stated income loan program for non-owner-occupied residential and commercial real estate investors. No tax returns required. What are you waiting for? Call Gelt Financial right now at 561-221-0900. Again, that's 561-221-0900. 561-221-0900.
Did you invest in a non-liquid real estate partnership? Do you want and need liquidity? There's finally an answer. Quick Liquidity is a direct buyer of real estate minority interest and tenants in common investments across the country. To find out if we would buy your non-liquid investment, call us at 561-221-0881 or visit us at quickliquidity.com. That's quickliquidity.com. If you're buying, selling, or investing in real estate, call attorney Dan Kaskow, 561-237-6822. Mr. Kaskow is board certified by the Florida Bar as an expert in real estate law. He's been practicing law for more than 20 years and is a partner in the law firm of Sachs Kaplan with offices in Boca Raton and Tallahassee. Dan Kaskow handles real estate, corporate, condominium, and homeowner association matters throughout Florida. From residential purchases and sales, bulk buying and selling of condominium units, to purchases and sales of commercial properties. Contact attorney Dan Kaskow at 561-237-6822 for your real estate, corporate, and community association legal needs. Attorney Dan Kaskow, 561-237-6822. Non-attorney spokesperson for attorney Dan Kaskow.
You're locked into 880 The Biz.
South Florida's only business talk station. 880 The Biz.
Where money talks.
Welcome back to It's Down to Business with Jack Miller. Call us at 305-541-2350. Follow us on Facebook at Jack Miller Down to Business or on Twitter at HJackMiller1.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's Todd Cohen and I with Rabbi David Baum and the Jewish Tony Robbins. I'm going to keep, I got something, I'm going to keep writing that. Rabbi Shlomo Zalman Bregman, who, by the way, you can find all over YouTube and Facebook. All you have to do is go to YouTube, type in his name, and he's all over. So I would highly suggest you listen to him. So my question before we went to the break is, what's the balance between the physical of the holiday and the spiritual of the holiday? And let's throw this to Rabbi Bregman first, then feel free to open it up and just chime in.
Yeah, for sure. So I would tell you as follows. For starters, many people enjoy and are just familiar with, it's very easy to be familiar with the physical part of the holiday, and that is whether it's the potato latkes or eating jelly donuts or other fried foods in the oil, and that's fine. I'm all in favor of that, and I've been known to pick in the kitchen late at night in that category as well. My wife and I had a discussion as to what happened to some of the donuts this morning, but we don't need to discuss that on Florida Public Radio, right? But just as we're more familiar when we look in the mirror with our physical part, our body, than our soul, which is invisible, the spiritual essence of the holiday is there's a lot to it. I would suggest to you that the concept, one concept I can quickly share with you from the candles, is something that every person needs to know, whether they're Jewish or not, or they observe the holiday in any sense or not. Jack and Todd, I'm very active in the business world, mentoring people as a business advisor and whatnot. We live in a world where people believe that if I help someone else, that somehow it's going to diminish me. It's a zero-sum game. There's a diminution to me if I give to you, worry about you, take care of you, invest in you. But the truth is that one of the lessons of the holiday that I think is crucial to know is something we get from the candles. Every night, we take one candle, the first one, the helper candle, we call it the shamish, and we use it to light the other candles for that night. And the takeaway is that you could be a source of light and illumination and life and giving to others, and in no way does it diminish yours. And I think that's something that is part of the essence of the holiday. So while you're eating latkes and applesauce, it's something to reflect on as well for at least a few moments.
Okay, Rabbi Baum?
So, Rabbi Bregman, that was a great take. Took the words out of my mouth. One of the things you had mentioned was the eating of the latkes, and the reason we do is potato pancakes, which are fried in oil. It's a lot of oil. The reason is, of course, to remember the miracle. One of the interesting ways that they speak about this miracle or how we light the candles is that we light each successive night another candle. 1, 2. On the second night, it's 2, the 3, 4, so on and so forth. On the last night, it's the height of it all, and it's the most holy. And the idea is that we raise in holiness. How do we do that nowadays? How do we raise ourselves in holiness? And I think one of those ways is, 1, giving light to others. So we're talking about giving gifts, and I think that's important. We should give gifts. It's good for the economy. I know we're on business radio. This is good for the economy. That being said, it's also good to help those who are in need. And I think one of the things that we can do, and I take this from another friend of mine, Rabbi Eitan Kenter in Atlanta, he's posting on Facebook, every night, I'm giving this gift to my son, and we're donating this amount of money to a different charity. And every night he highlights the charity. Can you imagine if everyone did this? If we made, we had Giving Tuesday, if Hanukkah became 8 days of giving, not just to our family and friends, but to people in need. And I think that's one way that we could share the light of God and the light of miracle and holiness with others, and we could really raise the sparks, as we say.
That's good. Look, this is Rabbi Todd Cohen, and I would like to take my position as the son-in-law of a rabbi and weigh in here, because Hanukkah does mean a lot to me, and Christmas is a big holiday in the United States and around the world, and there are a lot of lessons and things that are brought to the forefront at Christmas time that transcend Christianity. Giving and family. There are stories that transcend sort of Christianity as well, like the gift of the Magi, and It's a Wonderful Life, and the Christmas Story, Christmas Miracle, even the Grinch, all kinds of images and stories that really, warm everyone's heart and show you how to be better people, giving people. And I think that there are a lot of things about Hanukkah that transcend Judaism, and I don't want to make this such so much about Judaism as what Hanukkah means, which you guys have done a brilliant job of sort of summarizing. But I mean, the giving aspect of Hanukkah is amazing. I think that making something greater out of something less significant, or something little goes a long way kind of story about Hanukkah is very meaningful, not just for the Jews, but for in general. I mean, just to use what limited resources you have and create something greater, or the sum being better, worth more than the sum of the parts. I guess the end result, and that's what the story of Hanukkah is all about. And the shamus, the image of the shamus, and how that's showcased on most menorahs, either in the middle up high or on one of the ends up high, really focuses on how important it is to help and how important it is to sort of bring light to the world, and that's why it gets that feature in Hanukkah. And I think it's a very important lesson, and I think we all should take solace in that.
Beautiful.
Do more good, Rabbi Cohen.
Rabbi Cohen.
Thank you all.
To my shul,
that was my midrash.
Shabbat.
Yeah, that was my midrash for the day.
Good stuff, Todd. Good stuff.
So again, I want to focus on how much do you think we as a people we give so much to the community, and I'm not just talking about Jewish people, I'm talking about just American people, just regular people. How much is the right amount to give and to do? And is there ever an amount that's too much or too little? Because I get the feeling as we progress in time, and it's maybe just during my lifetime, that we just become more introverted and less extroverted, and we become more about ourselves and less about community. And I think a lot of the problems we're facing in society today are because of the lack of community. I don't know belt where everyone lives, but I pull in my house, I go in my garage, I shut the garage, and we stay in. We don't. It's not like when I grew up where we knew everyone in the community.
Jack, can I jump in?
Please.
I heard this great thing on the radio. It was a theory about when you have more wealth, community goes down in the sense that, let's say you're moving from an apartment, right? When you didn't have any money, what would you do? You would call your friends to help you. What do you do if you have money? You don't call your friends, you hire someone to do it. And I think that speaks to what this is, a sociological trend that speaks to what you're talking about, this kind of breakdown of community. Maybe it's because we have so much that we're scared to ask others for things.
But isn't some of that because we as humans are just so horrible to one another and always have been? I mean, you can just go through the news today and you're just riddled with just examples of horrible acts of just cruelty and horrible violence and you know, look, this time of year is such a time about giving and being thankful and spending time with family and friends and getting into the holiday spirit, you know, quote unquote, and you just are just littered with just horrible things every day. And I think part of the reason Jack goes into his garage and closes his door and locks it and stays in his house is because there's a lot of things to be scared of out here. And, you know, I don't know what your thoughts are about that, but.
Yeah, Todd, what I would tell you, and I'm going to piggyback on what you were saying about the lighting of the menorah before. Yeah, we do live in a very scary world, but the truth is we don't have to do that much to have a big impact. You know, we have an expression in the Torah, and in Hebrew we say, ma'at min ha'or doiche harba min ha'choshech, which means very simply that a little bit of light can dispel a great bit of darkness. That's actually one of the themes of Channukah. Many people know that part of the story of the holiday is that a small army of Jewish rabbinic students defeated the mighty Greek superpower. I mean, imagine you saw such a thing today that the U.S. Army would be taken on, or the Russian Army would be taken on by a bunch of guys with little black hats. You know, it's kind of funny, but that's what happened. But the historical facts aside, the lesson is that a small number of people with pure-hearted intentions can accomplish something vastly disproportionate to their numbers. So, you know, sometimes in life I think we don't try something. Our budget's too small, or we don't have an email list, or a big enough platform, or a loud enough voice, or we think we're putting ourselves at risk. But I think one of the lessons of the holiday is that it doesn't matter. It's that what we represent is truly light, i.e. goodness, just, true, value add. We can push a great deal of darkness away from the world and the people around us.
On that theme, we only have 2 minutes before our next break, but one of the questions I want to ask, and we can start talking about now, is there's so much darkness on the news. It's just terrible. I can't stand to watch it. How do we practically, what are some good ways, and I'm going to throw this to Rabbi Bregman first. I think I've tried to be fair. If not, you guys can kill me after.
Everything's great. Terrific.
No problem. How do we spread light in our own lives and chime out all this negativity, which really doesn't mean much? You know, you turn on the news, it's one catastrophe after another, and we're not bringing light into the world. So how do we give us some practical ways that we can do that?
Sure. I'll give you a short answer. There's a commentary, a Torah commentary, which was written before the Holocaust by a rabbi who lived before the war named Rav Shimon Shkop. And in the introduction to his work, he says something very simple, that any blessing or talent that we've received from our Creator, we weren't given that in our lives for our own self-aggrandizement, but it's to benefit other people. But then he says the challenge is, but, you know, I'm supposed to care about other people, but I only care about myself. I love me, I don't love them, so how do I fix it? So the short answer I would suggest to you, as he does, is to expand the definition of who is me. Is me just a person I see in the mirror? Does me include my wife, my kids, my neighbors, my community? Because everybody pretty much, most people love themselves, but the higher a person ascends in terms of their goodness and spiritually, practically speaking, the more people become included in the definition of me, to the point
Great, and
that I could do something for you, and I think I'm really doing something for me because you and I are the same.
Great ending. I don't want to say ending point. We got to take a hard commercial break for traffic. Stay with us, folks. When we get back, a lot more spiritual and deep questions. I want to ask, are we our brother's keepers? We'll be back in a few minutes, everyone. Thank you for staying with us.
Don't turn that dial. We'll be right back.
Turn it around.
Do you need long-term real estate financing? Gelt Financial is located right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and provides 30-year terms with no balloon payment whatsoever on non-owner occupied residential and commercial real estate. With a minimum loan amount of only $75,000 all the way up to $5 million, we provide common sense underwriting and quick closings. We don't require tax returns whatsoever. Call right now at 561-221-0900. Again, that's 561-221-0900.
Did you invest in a non-liquid real estate partnership? Do you want and need liquidity? There's finally an answer. Quick Liquidity is a direct buyer of real estate minority interest and tenants in common investments across the country. To find out if we would buy your non-liquid investment, call us at 561-221-0881 or visit us at quickliquidity.com. That's quickliquidity.com.
You landed on 880 The Biz, South Florida's only business talk station. 880 The Biz, where money talks.
Welcome back to It's Down to Business with Jack Miller. Call us at 305-541-2350. Follow us on Facebook at Jack Miller Down to Business or on Twitter at HJackMiller1.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and sticking with us during the commercial break and traffic. Got Jack Miller. We got Rabbi Todd Cohen, Rabbi Bregman, Rabbi Baum, and everyone who's listening. We love you all on this beautiful holiday. So I threw out there before, and I'm going to throw this to, I forgot who I was with before, but I'll throw it to Rabbi Bregman first. Are we our brother's keeper? How much obligation are we to really help? As I forget who was giving the analogy before. I forget. But one of you great guys was giving the analogy. What's a sense of community? Where does it go? Because I think we as people, like I said before, we're singular. We're focusing on ourselves. I think we need to lean out. I forget the name of the what was it? The Google lady or one of those big ladies wrote.
Sheryl Sandberg.
Yeah. Was it Facebook? Yeah. Lean out. And I thought that lean in. And I thought that was fantastic because I think as a society, we're always trying to do less, get out of doing things. And Rabbi Bregman does a fantastic in his daily videos about discouraging that. Instead of trying to do less and work less, we should be doing more and doing more, leaning in. So, Rabbi Bregman, why don't you start there? Then we'll turn it over to Rabbi Baum.
Sure, my friend. Thank you. And it's I'm just so privileged and honored to be with you, and this is such a fantastic opportunity. I'm grateful to both you and Todd and to God. So I would tell you like this: is just a couple quick ideas because I'm actually very interested in what Rabbi Baum has to say. I'm having my most fun from listening to him. I would just share with you a couple ideas. I mean, as you're aware, Jack, from the Jewish tradition, there's basically two basic forms of giving. There's material giving, and then there's also, you can almost call it like intangible giving, time, giving love, giving heart, giving patience, giving attention to somebody. That's also a form of giving. Within our Jewish heritage, as you know, there's a certain minimum amount, about somewhere between 10% to 20% of a person's profits would ideally be allocated in a material sense towards charitable causes in general. But that being said, when it comes to giving time, love, heart, and other kind of resources, we can go as big and as wide as we want. And it's fun, and it's enjoyable, and you get a lot of pleasure from it, and it always bounces right back to you. I would also just quickly suggest that there's, from the classic perspective of Jewish thought, the Maharal of Prague and others write about it, that there's basically two different forms of giving. The lower one, which is still good, is when the giver, the one giving, sees of a problem or hears of a problem, and you feel some kind of measured compassion for the person who's suffering, and then you respond. But that's the lower level because it's reactive, and it depends on the fact that did you arouse my emotions, and then I'll become a giver. Sometimes people give a homeless person or somebody else just to leave them alone. The higher level of giving that I think we should all strive for is when we're actively and always on the lookout for ways to help people in a proactive sense, and that comes when we consider giving to be a privilege.
Rabbi Baum?
The question you asked was, what is our role to our neighbors, right? What does it mean to be our brother's keeper, I think you asked. Of course, these are lines from the Bible, from the Torah, which is this shared holy document. Judaism challenges us to ask ourselves, what does it mean to have a brother, right? Who is our brother? Who is our neighbor? And that is a question that we really have to ask ourselves. If they look different than us, they have different religions, so on and so forth. I think that in America, especially because we live in such a diverse society, we are challenged with this question. And I think it forces us, this idea, this biblical idea, to really expand, to see who is our brother, to look at our fellow human being as being created in the image of God, which is a Jewish idea. I think it's a Christian idea, a Muslim idea. I think that it transcends it, which is a beautiful thing. As far as giving, yes, I think Rabbi Bregman brings up a great point about not being a reluctant giver. One of the things to connect it to who is our brother, the highest level of what we call tzedakah, which is loosely translated as charity, but really is bringing righteousness in the world, is to teach someone how to be self-reliant. And in order to do that, I think you need to have a connection to them. You need to spend time with them so that they can provide for themselves. It shows a certain love that you have for that person as a human being. And I think that is the great challenge that we have living in this society. How do we look at ourselves as if we're brothers and sisters?
So right. I want to focus in on the giving of one's time. I read a startling statistic yesterday, and I assume it to be true, that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death. 41,000 people annually, unfortunately, are successful with it. And every 13 seconds, somebody is successful in killing themselves, extinguishing their flame. I didn't figure out how many 13 seconds there are in this show, but you wonder if we spend more time with people and we get to know them, how many people needlessly harm themselves or are just depressed, that maybe if we showed them more love and more kindness and we opened our time more, I'm not talking about wallet here, I'm just talking about time in what I'll call our household more to them, would it make an impact in their lives more? I know, Todd, for example, if you would invite me over your house, yes, to hang with you one evening, and you could make food for me, it would lighten up my life.
I agree.
So no, I'm joking.
No, look,
when am I coming over? No, actually, I'm not coming over. I'm never coming over. But no, I tried to make a little joke there. But no, I really, I'm serious about this because I'm just concerned as a society we're not giving our time to one another in a way that we should. And when we ask someone how they're doing, we really don't care. It's like a social politeness. Thoughts on that?
Yeah. You're right, my friend, and it's very sad. I mean, first of all, you know, because you're hooked to the YouTube videos on my channel, you know that I often say that if something's important to you, you're going to find a way, and if it's not important to you, you find an excuse, okay? We all have the same number of hours in the day and minutes in a week and seconds in a month. We all have the same. The question becomes, how do we organize it? So the first thing is, are you interested in giving time and help to people? Are you interested or you're not interested, okay? So you're busy? Okay, mazel tov. I'm busy too. You're busy. Everybody on this call is busy. I'm sure most of your listeners are busy. We're busy. So are you interested or not interested? But more than that, if a person, and this is what I do, if you structure your time correctly, you can give enormous value to massive numbers of people, even on an individual basis, if you'll only organize your time in such a fashion. I know that when I get in my car a couple times a week, I actually punch into my cell phone beforehand the names and phone numbers of a few people who need a phone call from me. Some are down, some are going through a tough time, some I just know need a kind word. half the time it goes to voicemail anyway, and they're happy with a 30-second message, and it does something for them. But it's just a little bit organized between where you're starting out, and by the time you're in Florida, you get to public, you can make somebody smile. And people understand that you could be busy, but you can add a lot of love and warmth and shine a lot of light that brings the person back to life. It only takes minutes, but it only will work if you're interested to begin with.
So make it a priority. Make giving of yourself a priority. Rabbi Baum, let me ask you a question. How much does spirituality, and I'm not just whether you're Jewish or Muslim or Buddhist or Catholic, it doesn't matter, whatever spirituality you believe in, how much do you think, and faith, I'll use the word faith, affects someone's happiness?
So don't quote me on this. I think there are studies that have shown that people who believe in something, who believe in God or believe in a higher power, that they are ultimately happier. I think I read that somewhere as being true. And I do think that there is something that it sparks a flame within you, speaking about Hanukkah, to help you persevere during difficult times, to know that someone's looking out for you, that you're doing this for a purpose, that you have a purpose. I think that it also, having faith, gets to be more grateful for your life. In our prayers, in Jewish prayer every day, we thank God for renewing creation every day. Just think about this. And the prayers that we say before and after we eat, we are constantly saying we are grateful for everything we have in life. And, especially during the winter when it's dark, up north it's cold, not down here, you get consumed by darkness. What gets you out of that? I think it's gratitude. I think it's being grateful for the life that you have and knowing that someone's out there looking out for you.
Isn't there something on top of that when you're part of a faith or a religion, an organized religion, and you participate with other people, you get more of a sense of community. You go to Sunday Mass or the mosque every Friday or wherever you're going, or synagogue, and you see the same people, and you maybe get out of your melees from the support of other people hold you up.
I think that being a part of a spiritual community, you realize you're not alone. You realize that as bad as things are, someone may have it off worse, and you can help them. It gives you a purpose. I think that's a big part, and unfortunately we're seeing less and less people going to church, synagogue, mosque, to being involved in organized religion, and I think that's not so great for our country. I think it gives us a sense of purpose and a sense of community.
But isn't there a divisiveness also with spirituality where there always have been and there continue to be a great number of people on our planet who believe that the way that they believe is the right way to believe, and anyone who believes differently is an outsider, and then that's a reason to shut them out of your life or to harm them or whatever.
More people, I think, have been killed in the name of religion and God than anything else. I guess it's a balance. I don't know.
So, right. So how do you guys address that kind of thing? Given what's going on.
Yeah, Todd, what I would tell you is, look, I mean, there's always people who don't have room in their heart to love or accept another person. When I meet people, I actually have a mental checklist whereby I'm looking for reasons to appreciate them, praise them, like them, to recognize their fine points. Other people don't have that pair of eyeglasses on, so to speak, and they're actually looking for reasons to eliminate a person when they find them. As you both know, that I'm very involved as a dating coach and as a matchmaker in that sphere. Anytime I have a client that I'm assisting through the dating process is looking for a spouse, if they come back from a date and they're what we call complaining, I will not listen to anything they have to say until they can start listening to me 5 to 10 positives that they picked up and recognized from the person that they went out with. Because you have to have a positive eye, no matter what your background and heritage is, to recognize the good that's in front of you. Like right now, I'm in New Jersey right now talking on the phone, and I'm wearing a white business shirt, with cufflinks and everything else. If I would go spill something on my shirt, I'd say, hey, Todd, what do you see? What are you going to tell me you see? You see, Bregman, man, man, Rabbi, you got a stain on your shirt. I said, but what about the other 99.8% of it that's clean? Well, what happens? Most people, and it's not you, most people, what do you see? You notice the spot. You notice what's missing. You find reasons to dislike a person as opposed to liking them and welcoming them into your life and into your heart. And it's a question of, what are you looking for? Are you going to see the 99.9% clean and the positive in the person? Are you looking for a spot?
So with that, we have to take our last commercial break. I can't believe the time is flying. I want to throw out a question for Rabbi Bregman when we get back, but I want to throw it now so you can think about it quickly. What lessons, you're the top-notch business consultant, strategist, success coach. If someone wants to be a peak performer, they come to you, the Jewish Tony Robbins. I get a penny for that. But how do you relate that to, can we make anything of being successful, being happy in the world, in business, to Hanukkah? So think about that. When we get back, we'll talk about that. Everyone stick with us for a couple minutes. I love this show. You guys are great.
Don't turn that dial. We will be right back.
Are you tired of dealing with unreliable banks and brokers who charge upfront fees and never deliver on their promises? You don't have to. Gelt Financial Corporation has been in business since 1989 and offers a stated income loan program for non-owner occupied residential and commercial real estate investors. No tax returns required. What are you waiting for? Call Gelt Financial right now at 561-221-0900. Again, that's 561-221-0900. 561-221-0900.
Did you invest in a non-liquid real estate partnership? Do you want and need liquidity? There's finally an answer. Quick Liquidity is a direct buyer of real estate minority interest and tenants in common investments across the country. To find out if we would buy your non-liquid investment, call us at 561-221-0881 or visit us at quickliquidity.com. That's quickliquidity.com.
Welcome back to It's Down to Business with Jack Miller. Call us at 305-541-2350. Follow us on Facebook at Jack Miller Down to Business or on Twitter at HJackMiller1.
Hello, thank you for staying with us, and welcome back, everyone. We have the three rabbis. It sounds like we're going to take this show on the road. So, Rabbi Bregman, what lessons can people learn from Hanukkah and put it in their practical lives to be more successful and more happy? I think we're down as a people. We need a cheerleader. How can we? What lessons can we extrapolate out?
Well, you know me, my friends. Last time I visited Boca, we got together. I don't have any pom-pom to be a cheerleader for you, but I'll share with you a nice idea. See, the real question becomes for me, like, what is the origin? How did Hanukkah get to be connected to giving? And if I understand that, if we understand that, then it becomes the lesson that we're able to extrapolate very, very far. It's the Jewish people 2,000 plus years ago, and we were facing at the time the Greek Empire. The Greek Empire, Greek in Hebrew is called Yavan, which is interesting. The word Yavan, if you know Hebrew, also means quicksand. So that's something you have to look out for. Maybe, I don't know if you're by the Everglades or wherever else. Quicksand. Yavan is quicksand. Why is the Hebrew word for the Greek Empire that we struggled with and that kingdom led by Alexander called quicksand? The answer is that quicksand is a physical representation of the essence of what that culture represented. To take, to grab, to pull down. And in fact, in the rabbinic writings, Alexander, from age 23 to 33, grabbed and took and swallowed up so much of the known world. He's called Melech HaNoitlin, king of the grabbers. What I would tell you is that this is something that I apply in my own life, I try, and to any business person who reaches out to me, and that is to go 180 degrees in the opposite direction. When we invest in other people, let's say we have a client, I think it's very important that we put into them everything we can. They should know that we care about them more than anybody else. We'll serve them more, protect them more, give them more, and there's reward in doing so. When you become someone who looks at your customers or your clients as not merely a cash register, but somebody who loves them and cares and invests deeply, you separate yourself from the pack, because most people are selfish, and you know what I mean. So I think that when we invest, when we put in, when we give, we don't become king of the grabbers. You know, oh, Amex, Visa, MasterCard, what do you got for me? And I don't care about you. When you put in, when you don't become a grabber, you're not the quicksand, but the flow is going the other way. You rise to the top, and everybody will know about it, and you'll have financial rewards from it as well.
Give more, do more. All goes back to that. Rabbi Baum, what do you think, if you had to give advice to people who are downtrodden or depressed, or they want to fight the all the bad news that's going on, and fight just extremism of all kinds, and just want to get along, what advice do you give someone?
What I would say is what I said before. There's two ways to look at life. And I think Albert Einstein said this, as if everything is a miracle or if nothing is a miracle. You have a choice. And I think you have to look at like everything is a miracle. And if you look at life like that, if you can wake up every day and see the miraculous things in the world, in your family, I think that you will ultimately be happier, that you can look past the negative, extreme negative things, especially in the winter months when it's dark. It's proven that when it's dark, we become more depressed. There's a seasonal affective disorder. What is the treatment for it? You have to look into light. That's actually true. There's these UV lights you have to look into. Just think about that. How do we look into light? How do we look when we're in dark times into light? We almost have to force ourselves to do it. And I think it's a challenge. It's not happiness doesn't just come to us. We have to work for it.
Right. I want to add one thing, right? This is Rabbi Todd. I've been seeing a meme go around the internet recently about all of this, and it basically says, what do I say to my children when we turn on the news and all these horrible things are happening? And basically, it in a nutshell, it says, focus on the helpers. You know, in every crisis situation, in every act of terror, in every murder,
focus on the positive.
You know, focus on the helpers, the people rushing to the scene to help everyone. They are the true lights. They are the shamas. And that's what we need to focus on.
So we need to bring light into the world. We only I don't know how this show flew by. We only have 2 minutes left.
Wow.
Rabbi Bregman first. What's your Hanukkah message? Give me a minute.
Well, my Hanukkah message in short, I would basically say, as your takeaway, is that it is a privilege to be a giver. It is an obligation, but it is also a privilege, and it is a fulfillment of the very purpose for which we were created. Within the Jewish heritage, we're big believers that we have an obligation to be imitative of God. As God is kind, we are kind. As God is merciful, we should be merciful. And God is the biggest ultimate giver in the world.
I got it.
Therefore, we should give.
Great. Rabbi Baum?
Everyone has a hidden light within them. Every person was born with a hidden light within them. Jack, we talked about this like 2 Shabbats ago, where you said this to me, and I absolutely believe in it. I think we were created with a light within us. If you could look at each person as if they have a light within them, maybe it's covered, maybe you can't see it. You have to work to uncover it. If you could look at each person like that, then I think that this world would be a better place. If we could look to love each of our neighbors and look at our neighbors as our brothers and our sisters.
That's a great closing comment. I feel bad. This could go on forever. You guys are great.
Yeah.
My Hanukkah message is I love you guys. Mr. Cohen, I love you. Ingrid, I love you. Bregman, Baum, my wife, my kids, all the listeners, I love you all.
Hanukkah Sameach, everyone.
Hanukkah Sameach. Thank you, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great week, everyone. Rabbis, thank you. You guys are the best.
Thank you.
Happy Hanukkah.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to tune in next Thursday at 3 o'clock on 880 The Biz. If you want to send in your questions, comments, or ideas for shows, please email Jack Miller at geltfinancial.com. Follow us on Facebook at Jack Miller Down to Business or on Twitter at HJackMiller1.
Turn it around, turn it around, turn it around. You got to turn